Welcome to Davey Day's Take. Today we're talking about Captain America, New Brave World? New Brave World? Is that what it's called? Brave New World. I was close. It's the new Marvel movie. So Brave New World is a new Captain America movie, but this time with no Steve Rogers. It's Sam Wilson, and we all knew that if you've seen the show Falcon the Winter Soldier. And so this movie, I feel like, already had an uphill battle. I was seeing online that everyone was shitting on this movie before it even came out. I mean, shocker. I feel like that's most of the Marvel properties, or anything that has a little bit of hype around it. But I thought that was unfair because obviously no one's seen the movie. And I liked the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. And from the trailers, like, they didn't impress me at all, to be honest. But it seemed like it could have that vibe as the Winter Soldier, the movie. And that's one of my favorite MCU movies. But as you know, Marvel in general, it just sort of been fine. Like, I don't think it's been bad. It's just been okay. It hasn't been nearly as good as the Infinity Saga. And you've probably heard that a million times. It's like beating a dead horse at this point. So I went in just sort of like, I mean, whatever. But it could be a fun superhero movie. I don't know. And unfortunately, William Hurt passed away. He played General Ross, so he is now replaced by Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford is one of my favorite actors of all time. He's one of the reasons why I love movies so much. So I was curious to see him in an MCU movie. And I am more curious to see how much money they paid him to be in this. So how is Captain America 4? It's fine. Like, it's about what I expected. I don't think this movie is bad. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that people online will probably say it is. It's just totally fine. But it just feels like a generic spy thriller. Like, nothing really new to that genre or to the MCU in general. It has somewhat of an interesting storyline, and there's one plot point where you get invested with one of the characters. But one of the problems with the story is that it feels like that's sort of pushed to the side. Like, at first, there's some real motivation there. There's a character that's in prison that shouldn't be there. And you're like, yeah, I want to help this person out. And that is kind of the main point of the plot for a little bit, especially with Sam Wilson. But then it's sort of forgotten. And that's where I feel like the story loses focus, and it feels like it's all over the place. There are parts of this plot in the story that I found somewhat interesting. There are some twists and turns. And it keeps you engaged. Like, I didn't think I was really bored throughout most of the movie. But at the same time, it's nothing super investing. It's nothing that's going to get you on the edge of your seat. And the plot itself just has, like, problems. Like, it gets lost in itself. So a lot of this movie feels like, where are we going? What's the point of all this? And the movie is paced pretty well. It's under 2 hours. But it definitely feels like there are parts of this movie missing. I read that there are some reshoots, specifically to add a character into the movie. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some interference or things that had to be cut out, because there are parts of this movie where it definitely feels like chunks of sequences are missing, or just shots in general. I like Anthony Mackie here. I always liked him as Sam Wilson. And Harrison Ford, I thought, did a good job here. It doesn't seem like he just phoned it in. He actually gave effort and tried. One of the biggest problems I have with this movie doesn't even have to do with the movie. It has to do with the marketing around it. I get why you have to have Red Hulk in the trailer and on the posters. I understand that. But that would have been a cool reveal if they somehow kept that secret. I'll give the movie credit. There are parts where they don't really try to hide the fact that, like, Red Hulk might come. But there is a big chunk of this movie where the plot is revolving around where it's like, what is the bad guy's plan? What is he trying to do ultimately? And you're sitting there being like, gee, I have no idea where this is going. I can't possibly imagine what's going to happen. So a lot of the time, the movie can feel like it's wasting your time. Like, we know where it's going. We know what it's trying to do. But like I said, Red Hulk would have been a cool reveal. And when he's in the movie, it's pretty fun. But I gotta say, it goes into another issue I have. There's CGI in this movie, obviously. I mean, every Marvel movie has CGI. Even if you film scene just sitting in a kitchen, the whole thing's like a green screen. It's crazy. And I know these visual effects artists are probably worked to the bone still, even with everything that's come out, because people don't have any shame. But I will say the special effects in this movie, I feel like, were some of the worst I've seen in an MCU movie in a while. Part of that has to do with some of the movie feeling like there's parts missing or things are unfinished. I'm not really sure. And the action itself isn't really that exciting. There's a lot of sequences where it's like hand-to-hand combat. I just don't think it's filmed very well. There's a sequence in the Indian Ocean that had some tension, but it just wasn't that exciting. Like, it just felt so generic. And then the stuff with Red Hulk, that's fun. That's probably the most memorable part, but it's barely in the movie, to be honest. So this movie definitely feels like it's just sort of going through the motions. Like, the story itself isn't anything new. It's nothing that's going to stick with you. The sequences aren't that exciting. They're just sort of okay. Everything in this movie's just fine. Even the villain. I don't think the villain was really that great, but I don't think he was bad. This movie is just the most movie ever. Because I'll be honest, if you walk away from this movie saying it's like the greatest thing ever, or if you walk away saying it's the worst thing ever, I just won't believe you, because this movie's just so in the middle. It's just sort of fine. Which is kind of what I was expecting, so I'm not really disappointed. But I'll be honest, I'm still waiting for the MCU to do something more unique and something special. I'm going to give Captain America Brave New World 6 Davey Daves. Also, you probably skipped the post-credit scene, just read about it. It felt like they just needed to have a post-credit scene. There's like no reveal. There's like nothing in it. It's just sort of like, bad things are coming soon. And it's like, yeah, we obviously know that. It's the MCU. We are always building to something. But like, there's nothing. It was so weird. This movie was just weird. Now that I think about it more. So, Captain America, Brave New World. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Davey's Takes.